Eric Wilson.
Hey, Joe, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Kind of piggybacking off what you just said, can you speak to the culture that both you and Zac Taylor have kind of created with this Cincinnati Bengals team and what has led you from, 2-14 to where you're currently at?
Yeah, I think, one, the organization did a great job of, bringing in free agents that have been obviously great for us on the field, but even better for us in the locker room and doing the same thing through the draft. And I think, that's where it starts. And then as quarterback, your job is to be an extension of coaching staff in the locker room. And so, whatever Zac says to the team, your job is to amplify it throughout the rest of the locker room. And, I'm not the only one that's doing that. We have, great leaders in that locker room to kind of permeate that culture throughout the entire building. And really, that's a rare thing. I haven't been a lot of places that have that. And I think that's really what breeds championships is, me being able to sit down with, I feel comfortable sitting down with anybody in the locker room at lunch and having a 10-minute conversation with them. And, it's really rare that, everybody feels comfortable doing that.
James Tatum.
Hey, Joe. How's it going today, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just wondering because you guys as a team have been playing very confident and you have a very confident, charismatic way you play the game. So how do you feel like you rub off on your other teammates and help your team have the highest confident level that they can have?
I think it starts with, building that locker room culture, everyone having, the utmost belief in everybody else that they're going to get their job done. I think, as a quarterback, I'm not afraid to make mistakes because I know our defense is going to pick us up if I do. And so that allows me to go out and play freely and not be scared to throw an interception or miss a throw because I know our defense is going to pick us up. And I think, our defense plays the same way, knowing that the offense is going to pick them up if they're down. And so I think we just play great team football together and that starts with the culture in the locker room.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good.
You had a great season this year, your best season yet as a pro. What do you think has led to the incredible success that you had? Not to say that you didn't have great success in your first few seasons, but what really propelled you to have the best season you had so far? And then what can you do to make it continue in this Super Bowl?
Yeah, I believe opportunities for the most part. Got new guys around a starting offense and big time playmakers, and everybody feeds off of each other. Usually every game try to come out there and set the tone. When I go out there hot, then everybody else eats on the perimeters and things like that. So we got a great quarterback in Joe Burrow. We got a great rookie receiver, and Jamar Chase, and then we got T to complement him and also Tyler to complement them. So I think that, that played a big role into it as well. A lot of guys was healthy throughout the year. And, just got to keep on capitalizing on opportunities. They don't come around often, so you got to do whatever you can to seize the opportunity.
Joe, really appreciate your time, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask you about being in this moment, what it means for you, being a part of Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's a great moment to be in this here position. The city, they've been waiting for this for 31, 32 years, and for me to be able to be a part of something so special like this, man, it just means everything. I know what it means to the city. I know what it means to the fans. I know what it means to the owner and also the players, man. So I'm bought in, here to do whatever I can, man, and put us in the best position to win. And just got to keep on, fighting the fight. It's almost over with, and we're right there. I didn't dream of this moment since I was a little kid. That's what we play this game here for, to be in big moments. And, we always look to thrive in these moments. So I just look forward to getting out there on Sunday and going to war one last time with this 2021 Bengals team.
Go to Jake Malik.
Hey, Jamar, you've had a great season so far as a rookie, and you get to play with your old college quarterback, Joe Burrow. Can you just talk about how playing alongside him has kind of helped you develop into an even better player than people probably ever imagined? I mean, everybody expected you to be really great, but you've probably exceeded expectations with how amazing this season's been.
Playing with Joe, he makes me a good player. I make him a good player too. So, just having him and he's helping me grow as a receiver, and I'm helping him grow as a quarterback. So, it's a whole bunch of positives in this situation. We're young, so there's a lot of room to grow.
Started here with Eric Wilson. Eric, please ask the first question.
Jamar, I really appreciate your time. Thank you, sir, for doing this.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you just if you could speak about this moment, being in this position that you're in, playing with some familiar faces. What does this all mean to you?
Yeah, it's a moment in my life, that I've dreamed about my whole life. One of the moments that I'm excited for. So it's just living in the moment at the moment. Just making sure that I'm enjoying it.
Next will be John Shearer from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Jamar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So talk to me a little bit about the matchup, you versus Jalen Ramsey. Who has the advantage speed-wise with him being a lockdown corner? Thank you.
Yeah, he plays a little catch technique, so he trusts his speeds a lot. So I don't know how fast he runs in his 40, but we're most likely going to find out on game day.
Next we'll go to James Tatum.
Hey, Jamar. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So I know a lot of people dream about being in the Super Bowl as a kid. So for you to be here in this moment, how does it feel to just be playing in this game right now?
Yeah, like I said, man, it's a dream come true. I've been saying this, talking about it, since I was a kid, to be in this position right now. Couldn't ask for a better position. I just know that I'm blessed. I'm just living in the moment.
Next question comes from Jake Malik. Jake, you may ask your question.
Hey, Tyler, congrats on making the Super Bowl. You have a great group of receivers between you, T, obviously Jamar. What is it like being in that room with those guys, not just on the field, but off the field? What is the relationship like, and how does maybe the off-field stuff kind of also help the on-field? Because you guys have been awesome this season.
Got you. Yeah. So first and foremost, I think it's fun to be a part of a group like this, having dynamic players and guys that's able to do different things and we can all amount to the same goal, but I think it's more important to us with our friendship. I think we're always together off the field. We always go out to dinner with each other and we do things with each other. I think that being said, I think the chemistry of our bond starts with off the field, just knowing each other, figuring out what each other is thinking in their minds and how we play the game of football, So I think our relationship carry us through this whole season because, for one, I think I know we're all unselfish players, and no matter when the guy's number call or whoever having that best game, we're going to continue to make sure he got that hot hand and continue to feed him. So I think we do a great job of just playing complimentary football off each other and going out there and make plays because we care for one another.
First question comes from Eric Wilson. Eric, you may ask your question.
Tyler, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
I wanted to ask you, you play a very pivotal role with this offense. Speak to me about the chemistry between you, T. Higgins, Jamar, and Joe Burrow, please.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think, at its peak. I think we got a great rhythm with what we want to do, and I believe we got a great understanding of each other. We just have great feel, to go out there and just execute plays, and then when Joe feel comfortable giving us chances to throw the ball up and allowing us to make plays, and we always make them plays, So I just think that we're young, hungry, and ready to go.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Best of luck.
Appreciate you.
EJ, thank you for doing this, sir. Really quick, I just wanted to ask you, piggybacking off of the last question before, this team was kind of bottom of the barrel, and now you have risen far and exceeded a lot of people's expectations. Can you speak to the culture of this team?
Yeah, again, real quick. You want a real quick or real long?
Whatever you want to do. I got some time.
No, it's I mean, that's a testament to Coach Taylor and his staff. Not too long ago we were 2 and whatever, and then we've progressively gotten a little bit better, and now we've just taken that massive leap, right? And that does speak to the culture. I think with what Coach has tried to instill in us, and the culture change that he wanted to have, the people that he's brought in this year during free agency, the people that we've drafted. Everyone, you play in the NFL, you're a great player. You see all this backlash. Oh, this person's not good. Well, you're the best of the best. You're in the NFL for a reason, right? And so it's not always that. It's men of character. It's people that want to buy into the system. It's people that want to buy into what the coaches have to say, right? And so I think we've gotten that. I think we have great players who also aren't cancers in the locker room or people that kind of weigh the team down or bring the team down. It's people that we don't care what's going on. We don't care who makes the play. We don't care who scores a touchdown. We don't care who gets the interception. As long as we're winning, we're hyped for everyone. We have each other's backs through thick and thin. I'm everyone's biggest fan. Jamar, that's my little brother. I want him. I point right here because he's right next to me. So I want him to score. I want him to shatter every single record every single time he steps on the field, and he wants the same for me. So I think that's kind of. It's unique, it's unique because this is a business. People say that it's a business. This is your job, but this is our family. Like, we're treating this as, that's my brother, and I want nothing but the best from him. And I know that he wants nothing from the best out of me and from me and for me. And, if you step on the field with that attitude and you're riding with your brothers, good things usually come from that.
All right. We got time for one more question here. Let's go to Jake Malik, Sideline Sports.
Hey, CJ, how are you?
I'm great. You got the last question. You better make it a good one. No pressure.
I'm going to try. Trust me. I'll do my best. Look, you paid your dues, and you've been on the team as one of the longest tenured current players, right? How does it feel to be with Joe and Jamar and the other Joe, right? You have this awesome group, and there's other guys I'm missing. This fantastic group of guys, and you're finally making it to the Super Bowl, the biggest game of your career. We already know you're going to be out there. I mean, we understand you're rehabbing. I heard what you said before. Let's be real. You'll be out there. We know that. But what does it mean to you to finally play in the biggest game you could possibly be in?
Oh, man. It's the best. It's the absolute best feeling. Thinking about it right now, I haven't thought about this way before, but used to play against my dad in Madden, and until I got way too good, he was like, "All right, I'm done doing this." But every time it was we made a fake Super Bowl trophy in the house. He did. He used a little foam, a little pool noodle as the ball. We shaped it into the football. We had a little, I forget, like a vase or something, and we wrapped it and spray painted it, and it was the trophy. It was the Lombardi trophy, and we played for it in Madden. And man, I actually just thought of that right now when you asked that, which is awesome. But it's incredible. It's incredible thinking of and about the hard work that I've put in, the time that I've put in, the summers that I've missed, the sleepovers that I missed, the hangout sessions that I missed because I was out throwing the football, out at football camps, out with, in high school we had 7-on-7s, we had team camp, we had 3-a-days, we had this and that and the other, and 3-a-days are not legal anymore, I'm pretty sure, but I mean that's what we did, and that's what it took, and that's what it takes to get to the level that we're at, and that's, just looking back on it, it's surreal. It really is, and I don't think it'll hit me until, after the game, hopefully when we come out with a win, that all that hard work just is there, and holding that trophy, not holding the fake one that my dad made, that I loved so much as a kid. It's going to be the real one, and man, that is going to be that's the pinnacle. That is what you play for. That's why I missed as much as I missed as a kid, for this opportunity. So yeah, I'm relishing this moment right now, and I'm looking forward to being out there.
All right, next we have Jake Malik.
Hey, Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. You guys had a great postseason run so far. Defense seems to be catching fire at the right time. You guys are making the important plays right now. That's the biggest thing. Everybody always says defense wins championships, right? What can you guys do to slow down this Rams offense? Because you got guys like OBJ, Cooper Kupp. I mean, they're playing at such a high level. What can you guys do to play at an even higher level to slow them down? Because that's what you're going to have to do, and I know you know that already.
Yeah, absolutely. We know the challenge that's at hand. You have a really veteran quarterback. You have really smart receivers who understand coverages and stuff like that. So I think, like I've said before, tackling, no explosive plays, and communication will be the biggest part to our success as a defense. And then lastly, just simply making plays. I feel like in the first half of, some of these other games, we haven't made, some plays, and we kind of started off slow. But with good teams like this, the margin of error is really small. So we have to jump out early, come out fast with a sense of urgency, and we'll be just fine.
All right, next we have John from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, John. How about you, man?
I'm doing pretty well. So my question is, when it comes to their offense versus your defense, where do you think you have the advantage? What area do you think you could pinpoint you have an advantage? Thank you.
I mean, there's, you never really know. Basically none of these games really matter in the playoffs. I feel like you can, watch film, you can watch what they do weeks before, but all that matters is, the next game. They could have turned the ball over 3 times against Tampa Bay, and then next thing you know, they don't turn the ball over. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, it just depends on how you play in that one game. And I think that our pass rushers, like I said, they can get after them a little bit. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage on defense. But all that matters is, this game that's here. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like I said, we can get after them a little bit with our pass rush.
So do you think you have an advantage against their offensive line then? Thank you.
I mean, if that's what you want to say, I think we have a really good D-line that gets after a lot of guys. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't down talk their offensive line or anything like that. So I think our whole team has an advantage. If that's what what you're looking for.
Next question will come from Eric Wilson.
Sweet last name, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, Logan, we might be cousins, but hey, brother, good to see you, and thank you so much for doing this. I want to ask you this question. Yourself, Clay Johnson, Marcus Bailey, Keandre Jones, your linebacking core has stood up against Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, Patrick Mahomes. Speak to me about this defense and what y'all were able to do to be able to, hold these great quarterbacks and be able to allow Joe to be Joe and get the victory.
I think that the simplest answer I can give you is that we're doing our job, and we're doing it at a high level. That's what we expect in our room, and we try to go out and make as many plays as we can. Obviously, we have a lot of selfless guys in that room and on our team in general. You're not always going to make the tackle or make the big play, but you got to do your 1/11th on each individual play to help set our team up for success. And obviously we try as much as we can to get the ball back to our offense, because the more opportunities they have to score, the better off we'll be.
Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much for doing this. Can you just speak to the chemistry of your defense and how you've been able to rise above the criticism that Cincinnati's defense isn't a top 10, and you've been able to beat the likes of the Vegas Raiders, Tennessee Titans, and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, our defense goes out there, and we're not really worried about where we're ranked or anything like that. I think the most important thing about football is winning the game, eliminating their main players and the explosive plays, collectively doing our job and our 111th on our defense, and doing it for the guy beside us and the guys coaching. And it's a real collective effort. We got guys on the sidelines telling us what keys to pick up on and what things to do. So it goes farther. It's just the 11 guys on the field. We got guys on the sidelines helping pick up the guys on the field and how we can all improve to win. And like I said, I'm blessed to be a part of this defense.
Let's go back to Eric.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. So, Trey, let me ask you, being in this moment, can you just speak to what it means to be a part of this? Because Cincinnati for so long has not been a top 10 team. And again, this is kind of an underdog, Cinderella story for you guys, but you guys aren't seeing it like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that since OTAs we've known what we've been capable of doing. It's our job to just go out there and execute. What it means to this city and these fans is very evident when you go around town and see the people in just common interactions, just going to a grocery store and stuff like that. It's great to give a breath of fresh air to this city and this organization. But like I said, we're really excited to compete at a high level on Sunday, and I think that's the goal for us.
Next question is coming from Jake Malik.
Hey, Trey, how are you?
Doing good.
All right. You had a great season last year in New Orleans, and you followed up with another great year this year in Tennessee. This year, you reached the Super Bowl after some heartbreaks in New Orleans. Just talk me through what it's like to finally reach the big game, play in the biggest moment, and what can you do to continue doing what you've been doing throughout the regular season and now this past postseason?
Well, anything I learned from New Orleans is don't make the game bigger than the game. It's one of those things you take it one play at a time. And when you're at the end of the road, that's when you can kind of look up. And I can speak for a lot of guys on this team that I think we still have one more game to play. A lot of excitement, a lot of things come with being in the game, but handling that properly as a pro, knowing that we still have 4 quarters to play. There's a lot of preparation that needs to get done too as well. But as far as having a chance, I think that's always something that every team has a goal for. So achieving those goals are great, but we're not in a position where we're patting ourselves on the back for getting there.
Evan, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, thank y'all.
So I wanted to ask you, as a kicker, sometimes it comes down to your leg being the decision between a win or a loss. Is there any added pressure on you going into this week?
I wouldn't really say so. As I stated earlier, we try to make every kick kind of the same. Not one kick's not bigger than the next, and the only kick that really matters is the next one. And so, I'm really looking forward to that first kick of the Super Bowl and just kind of get things rolling. Hopefully it's a lot of PATs. I wouldn't be mad about that at all. But I wouldn't say that there's really any added pressure to this game. It's just, it's really no different than any other games that we've played up to this point. If you really think about it, the stages might be bigger, the lights might be brighter, but when we're on the field, it's the exact same.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach Taylor, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
I want to ask you about the culture of this team.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's something we believed in from the get-go, and that's the foundation of everything that we grow off of. And so, that's from day one, getting the guys to understand why we're meeting the way we are, why we're practicing the way we are, and kind of finding the leadership in the locker room and then growing it from there. And so, again, that's all the assistant coaches being on board and then sing together through the good times and the bad. And the players have really bought in and taken over this team. We think that the best teams come from teams who have great player ownership. And so we're on top of them about the scheme and the details, but at the same time, we want their feedback on things that we can continue to improve on, whether it's lunch, dinner, practice times, walkthrough times. How can we maximize our abilities and make sure this team is as good as it can possibly be? And that comes from great player ownership, great player leadership, holding each other accountable and to a high standard and not letting anything slip as we get here to mid-February. And so really proud of these assistant coaches and these players that have really bought in and allowed us to play in a game like this.
Thank you so much, Coach. Best of luck.
You bet.
Next up, we'll go to Jake Malik.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. You got the Bengals, and that offensive line 2 weeks ago against the Titans was not great. I'll put it politely. It was not great. They let up 9 sacks, and then last week against the Chiefs, they only let up 1 sack. So it's like, 2 different teams at that point. The key to this game feels like you got to get pressure on Joe Burrow. Would you say that, that's really the key for, not for just you, but your whole team on defense, to just get pressure on Joe, make him make mistakes, and ultimately win the game as a result?
Well, that's every week. Every week as a defensive line, that's your mindset. I feel like you do that, you give your team a better opportunity, to make big plays and get off the field. So, it's not just this week. Obviously, it's the biggest game of our career. So we want to go out there and do just that. But that's not that's every week we got that mindset. So.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty well. So just to piggyback off the previous gentleman's question, where do you think the weakness is on the offensive line, and how do you exploit that? Thank you.
The weakness. Well, they're a group that's playing in the Super Bowl, so you got to respect that. They got there for a reason. So we're gonna just go out there and I trust the players we got against the players they got, and we're gonna go out there and do what we got to do to try to find a way to win a game. So that's what it come down to, trying to play for 4 quarters and trying to dominate. So.
All right, let's go to John Shearer from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Vaughn, how you doing today?
How's it going?
Pretty good. So can you talk to me a little bit about what it's like to get to play with DeMarcus Ware and Aaron Donald in your career, 2 all-time greats? Thank you.
Man, those are 2 of the best players that I've been able to play with defensively. I don't know who's 1, I don't know who's 2. Both of those guys are 2 of the best players that have ever played the sport. Both of those guys are historic and record breakers, and both of those guys have different energies about them. And both of them, they play different positions. DeMarcus was on the outside; he was a edge rusher, and Aaron Donald is an interior lineman, but he can rush on the outside too. And it's just been great, man. I've only been here for 12 weeks, man, and I already love the guy. You see the way Aaron Donald works, and it just makes you want to put your neck on the line for the guy. Being a huge fan of DeMarcus Ware and everything that he did in Dallas, and him coming to Denver, he hadn't won a Super Bowl or anything like that before. You want to put your neck on the line for the guy as well. He's just such a great guy on and off the football field. Both of these guys, they have they can do any move in the book. They're both super strong. You can't single either one of those guys, man. And it was just an honor and a privilege to play with both of these guys, man. I'm really blown away as I kind of reminisce about DeMarcus and as I kind of reflect on, the type of player that Aaron Donald is, man. It's so dope, and it's so amazing, to have these special moments with both of these guys.
All right, let's go to Jake Malik, Sideline Sports.
Hey, Vaughn, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're good. Doing pretty good. Thank you. So you get to be here with Odell, and it's pretty well known that you two are, I think a good description is pretty good friends, if not best friends. You guys are pretty close together. And I know last week I was on some of the calls for the NFC Championship, and you were talking how excited you were to be with him. You're in the Super Bowl together now. You're playing on opposite sides of the ball, obviously, but you're both working towards the same goal. Just what does it mean to you to be on a team with like your best friend and have a chance to win, in your case, a second championship, but just to win a championship in general?
Just being on a contender, being in LA, being with all these guys, having success with the Rams is already enough. And then you put Odell Beckham, one of my good friends, on the same team, bro. It's like God really has his hand on all of this. And this is all God's plan. And there's no way I could have wrote it any different. Me and Odell became really good friends years ago. I felt like he saw not just football, but the world, the same way I saw it. And I felt like we spoke the same language, whether it's like family, friends, whether it's like media, whatever comes with being successful in the league. I feel like we both seeing the world through the same lens. And we just kind of clicked, man. And, that's just been my guy. This is years ago, and we've built on that relationship. We've traveled all across the world. We're truly brothers. We've disagreed on stuff, and we've disagreed on things, and then we've got back together, and that just made us even stronger. It's really just like a brotherhood, man. We keep it real with each other, man, and we have fun together, man. And it's whenever it's time to have a good time, there's nobody better to do it than Odell Beckham and Von Miller. Whenever it's time to work, there's no guys working harder than Von Miller and Odell Beckham. So it's been a true blessing that God has aligned us up together at this point in our lives, going to a Super Bowl, man. There's no way that you could have wrote it, any better than that, man. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here with all of these guys, man. But specifically to be here with Odell Beckham, man, it is dope, and it's a blessing.
Jalen, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, sir, given the space that you're in and you're out in LA playing with this amazing team, you're a great athlete. Can you just speak to staying in the moment and not letting the outside distractions maybe affect you this week?
Yeah. That's part of trusting the process, I guess you could say. It's part of trusting the process and being completely present. Like it's not just this week. It's life in general. You can always get distracted, so you always have to try to regain your focus, renew your mind, and stay tapped into what's presently going on in your life. So, obviously things that help me are staying grounded in my faith, and I got great people around me, great support around me that helps me do that. And it's no different this week for me. Obviously, this is a moment that I'll forever cherish and remember, but I still have to stay focused, remain where I'm at in the present, and lean on my faith and my support system, everybody around me.
Talk to me about Coach Raheem Morris, the impact he's had on you, both professionally and personally.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand professionally and personally with me and Coach Ra, just because like the first thing I think about is like leadership and how great of a leader he is, and how he has taught me and challenged me in different ways that I've never been taught or challenged on how to be a better leader. And being a leader, obviously they want me to lead out here on the field, with the secondary or with the defensive guys or even the team, but that spills over into my my personal life as well. Being a leader of my household, leading my family, leading my kids, being a good example, all those type of things. That's probably the most important thing that that's kind of Coach Ra has helped me with and helped me grow and taught me. It's just different leadership capabilities and opening that different side and different level of me.
I appreciate it, sir. Best of luck. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right, next we have Jake Malik from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Cam, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. You made a miraculous comeback, it seems. Somebody was asking about it before. The turnaround time from being injured so seriously to back in the Super Bowl, and you kind of touch on it, but is there a secret to how you came back so fast? Is there something you can tell us that we don't know already, that you came back so quickly? That was like a miracle, it felt like.
No secrets, prayer and work, and that's really what I stand by when people ask me what happened, or like what was special about it. It was a lot of prayer and a lot of work, 7 days a week. So just the result, like I said, I'm able to be here and contribute with the team and go compete for a Super Bowl.
All right. Next, we have Eric Wilson from WKII.
Cam, man, I really appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you if you could just expand upon that last question and talk about your journey back, because you, sir, are a success story that people need to hear about.
Man, thank you. Thank you. I'll say it, it wasn't like a trick or like a special remedy. It was just work, prayer and work, 7 days a week, and it paid off. I had great people around me, great staff, great organization. So just having people around you to push you every day on top of your drive, your want to, your fear of not, like I said, I had a fear of not coming back the same way. So just all of that put into like a bubble, each and every day, gets the result.
All right. Next, we have John Shearer.
Hey Cam, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So can you talk to me a little bit about the advantage that you guys might have playing on your home field, kind of like the Bucs had last year? Thank you.
Yeah. Just obviously our fans, we got home crowd, home field advantage. So just trying to use that to our advantage, use the crowd, use the noise, the atmosphere, not having to travel. Obviously, like you said, this is my first time, so I don't know what it was like the last time the Rams played, but not having to travel and go places, just being here, being able to be comfortable, staying in our regular routine, I think it gives us I won't say advantage, it just allows us to be comfortable.
Andrew, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
So
you.
I wanted to ask you, like some great players, you are defying Father Time. Playing at the age of 40, talk to me about just your level of impact going into a game like this on Sunday.
Yeah, it's such a cool opportunity for me to be in a role where I get to be, a football player and a leader and a part of the whole entire organization, really. I mean, there's a lot of places in this building that I love to go and just be a part of and see what we're doing and how we can do it better. And that's one of the things I love the most of being around as long as I have. I can't wait to get out there and play with the guys. And honestly, sometimes now it's like the younger guys inspire me as much as they claim I inspire them. So it's fun for me to get out and compete with my team and have these opportunities. Obviously, it's not as fun playing in my age body-wise. There's a lot of things you got to get through and a lot of pain, a lot of things you have to, as I say, tape yourself up and get ready to go for it again. But you know what? The kind of guys we have and really this organization, the culture it's made up of, makes it all worth it every time.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you.
Joe Ellis, Sideline Sports Network.
How you doing, Andrew? Congratulations. So Cooper Kupp had a record-setting year. Do you guys feel you get enough credit up front with the blocking you guys did for Cooper and for Matthew?
I think as linemen, you just sometimes you're better off just allowing those guys to get all the credit, because the reality is this: our job, if they're talking about us, it's usually because we did something wrong. So we're used to nobody saying anything about us. So if they're praising the receivers, the quarterback, the running back, whoever it is, that's fantastic, because we know that means that we had a part in it. We know that there's things that you obviously have to do to be able to have all those opportunities, but. We like sticking with just don't say our name. I'm all for that, right? The worst thing ever is when they started announcing numbers when they called penalties. If we didn't already get enough grief, when we mess up, now they got to say our names on the intercom.
I love it. Just before you go, what kind of birthday cake you guys get Matthew for his birthday today?
Matthew does not like attention that much, so I would doubt he'll be real excited about us making a big ordeal about it. But we definitely did a little birthday cake with him this weekend, so he's good. He's covered. And as I told him, being an older guy, that there's no more exciting birthdays. It's just people reminding you all the things that are happening to you as you're getting older now from now on. So he realizes that, and soon enough, hopefully he'll be on this screen with as much gray and white as I got.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we'll go to Jake Malik.
Hey Troy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. You got Jamar Chase, you got Tyler Boyd, and you got T. Higgins. I know you were talking about them before, and you were saying how they're unselfish and they want to work together. What is it that has they've done to come together and work so well together? Besides being unselfish, what do they do? Stuff in practice, on the field during games, at halftime. What is it that really makes them all excel? Because it's not like just Jamar or just T or just Boyd are playing well. It's really all three of them have been really great this season.
Yeah, one of the reasons why they're unselfish and is they like each other. There's no animosity. They hang out off the field. They get together. They spend time together. It's really like a brotherhood. And TB is the bigger brother, and then T, and then Jamar. But they all excel at different things. TB's at inside slot receiver, option runner, knows how to find the void, knows how to create separation at the top, dependable, reliable pass catcher. T is a long, athletic, rangy target on the outside. His route running has gotten better. I think Joe's confident that whatever ball he throws, T's going to go up and make the play. And then Jamar, he's explosive. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's gonna make explosive plays. Great run after the catch, great down the field. And so they all have a niche. They all have a plan in this offense. Joe trusts all those guys to execute their roles. And like I said, they truly like each other. They truly want each other to be successful. And so there's no unselfishness. And when their numbers called, they're ready to make a play.
Next up, we'll go to James Tatum, Sideline Sports.
Hey there, Coach. Congratulations on making it to the Super Bowl.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So earlier, you're talking about how unselfish these guys are when you look at your group of guys. But around the league, we've kind of seen it become an era of there's a lot of divas at the receiver position. So for you guys, your guys to be so unselfish, what really separates them and makes them so different and unselfish from the other guys around the league?
Yeah, we do a great job as a staff of recruiting and finding out what really makes the guys tick. And so we knew drafting these guys, and we brought these guys in, that they were team guys. They wanted to win, but at the same time, they put the team first. And that's what it comes down to. Tyler Boyd, he's been here for a while and really hadn't experienced a lot of winning. And so that's his main focus, just to win. And an example was I think it was the Detroit game. He didn't have many catches or targets. And I sat next to him on the bench and I said, hey, keep your head up, And he said, Coach, I'm not even worried about it. As long as we're winning, I'm good. And Jamar had a game like that, and T had a game. And they're all about the team, all about winning. They understand that their opportunity is going to come. And when it does come, they got to be ready to perform. And they're more excited when their teammates make plays than they are when they're themselves. And so we got a great group, a great culture. It starts with Zac as well. And from this whole entire team embodies that unselfish culture and wanting the team to be more successful than self.
Then we'll start with Jake Malik from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Steve, how you doing today?
Jake, how are you, bud?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Your secondary in general has been really improving the last few weeks, through the playoffs. You guys have been holding receivers for the most part in check, not letting anybody take over the game really, which is a big key to any game, but especially now in the playoffs. And I was talking with some of the guys yesterday. They said the defense has been really just making key plays at the right times. Can you just speak to what you're doing in practice and what you're then seeing on the field that is allowing them to go make those key plays, at those really big opportune moments?
Well, it's really all about them. They want to win, and they understand what's at stake every game, and no one's going to go out there and make plays that are going to lose the game. And at the same time, the guys understand that when the moment is right, it's time to go out there and make a play. And that's what they do collectively, whether it's the safeties, whether it's the corner, whether it's Mike and they're at nickel, whether it's a run play, whether it's a pass play. Mike made a play against Tennessee where, it was an RPO and, he goes and makes a play at the right time. And Jesse 1 week and Eli 1 game, and, they just take turns and they just not going to do anything to let each other down. And when the opportunity comes, they go out and make plays.
Next question is from Jake Malik.
Hey, James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. CJ is, as we know, he's banged up, but I spoke with him yesterday, and his sentiments basically were, there's no way I'm missing this game. There's no shot I'm missing it. I don't know how much you've been able to work with him. I know he's trying to rehab and get himself right for this game, but from what you know about him and any interactions you may have had in the last couple of days, can you give us any updates and or just tell me why he's not going to miss this game, besides the fact that it's a Super Bowl, but just, him as a person?
Yeah, from what I know about the guy for the last 3 years coaching him is that if there's any way possible that he can play, he's gonna play. He's the the old school guys that you love, and I got all those guys in my tight end room. They're tough guys. They're unselfish. They do everything the right way. They work hard. They put the time in. They don't have a lot of distractions. So that I don't know the injury aspect, if he'll be ready to play or not. That's out of my hands, but I know if it's possible, he's going to be out there. And because I know he's going to do everything right, and he's a tough son of a gun, those are the guys you love to coach, that are, especially the tight end position, smart players that are extremely tough and unselfish.
Jake Malik, go ahead.
Hey, Marion, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Your defense has had at least 1 sack in all 3 postseason games, and in 2 out of the 3 games, you've had multiple sacks. So obviously you guys are getting good pressure. What is it that you guys are practicing or doing that is allowing you to get this really great pressure? Because it's not easy. It's never easy, and especially in the postseason, it's even more difficult. So what is it that you're dialing up and working with the guys that's making them obviously play so well?
I don't know about dialing it up, but I tell you what, we played so many close games this year, as a team, and I think those guys know over time, just kind of get them to stay with the game plan, that everybody just continue to grind, continue to work. Then in a matter of time, we always feel like we're going to get our hands on the quarterback. So, it's all about the players with me. And I don't talk to them about me. It's all about the players. And those guys work their butt off. They come and play on game day, and then see them get big sacks, see them make big plays, man. I'm over there on the sideline. I'm so excited for them from inside out, man. I'm looking at mean, but I'm really just smiling on the inside, because I do think these guys deserve success.
James Tatum, Sideline Sports.
Hey, Mike, congrats on making it to the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
My question for you is, having a lot of really good wide receivers on your team, like Jamar, Tyler, and all those guys, how does that help you guys prepare for a team that has another good receiver core like the Rams?
Oh, it's good, man. We've been going against these guys since training camp, and we know they're the best trio in the league. Going against those guys every day, you got to bring your A game, and it's no different. Like I said, we see it in practice every day, and we know the Rams have a real good receiving core and a quarterback that can get them the rock. So as a secondary, it's nothing we see every day with Burrow and those guys. So we're excited about the opportunity, man, and we just got to take advantage.
Next question is Jake. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, Quinton, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
So you've been in the NFL for a while. You've been on a few teams now, Tennessee, Buffalo, and now Cincinnati. You definitely played against some of the best. Being in the league that long and playing against some of the best players, how does that help you prepare to play against one of the scariest 3 sets of guys on the other side of the field for you in Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, and Aaron Donald?
It's reps. It's like I played so many snaps. It's like I attacked it like every time. I said before, I attacked the game the same way. So, and 9 times out of 10, I've been in the league for a while. So I played against all of them already. So I feel like it's just they the same. They good pass rushers, but like I said, I treat all of them the same. If they line up on me, I got to do my job no matter what. Whoever in front of me, I just got to do my job.
Jake.
Hey BJ, how you doing today, man?
I'm good.
So you got to play against a strong team here, and on the other side of the football, on the other defense rather, you got some strong guys. You got Aaron Donald, you got Von Miller, you got Leonard Floyd. Do having those guys going up against you guys kind of give you a little extra motivation? Not that you need extra motivation. It's a Super Bowl. It's the biggest game you can play in, but knowing those are the other guys on defense, on that defensive line on the other team, does that give you a little extra push to say, you know what, I got to strive to be better than them today?
No, we got a great group of guys ourselves. We got DJ Reader, we got Sam Herbert, we got Trey Henderson, we got BJ Hill, we got a lot of guys too. So it's just us versus us. Do our job and do what we got to do.
Tyler.
Hey BJ, Tyler Ingram with Sideline Sports. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You made an incredible interception in the AFC Championship late in the third quarter that gave Burrow and the offense the best starting field position all game. Can you talk about the resiliency of this team rallying back from 18 down in Arrowhead to send this team to the Super Bowl?
We knew on defense that we just had to step up and make some plays, and we just want to give the offense the ball as much as we can, get a couple turnovers, and we knew they were going to put it in the end zone, and that's what they did.
All right, let's go to Jake Malik, Sideline Sports.
Hey Trey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you've been on the team for a while. I talked to CJ earlier this week. He was talking about paying his dues. I'm sure you're feeling that, but I want to talk more about. You've worked with a couple different quarterbacks. Well, really just two main quarterbacks, right? But Joe last year, you got to work with him for a little bit before his injury. You were, those weeks leading up to his injury, and now you played a full season with him. What have you seen out of him that he's just doing better in year two now? You guys have a pretty close relationship as center and quarterback. I know a lot of people don't think of it like that, but it's a pretty important relationship. So being so close to him, working with him so often, what have you seen from his start last year all the way up until now?
Oh, you can definitely tell the game slows down. The game took, especially for a guy like him who already came in brilliant. Like he's very intelligent with the football. He knows what we need to do. He knows what he wants to do. He's the ultimate competitor. Last year, I think he was just kind of dependent on those things. And this year, the game definitely slowed down. He's able to see things faster because he can anticipate those things. And he knows how to control the game. He's playing chess. He's playing chess out there where he's already counting moves ahead. He knows situations we're going to be in, football situations we're going to be in before we even get in them. So he knows the exact call. He doesn't have to wait on Zach. He doesn't have to wait for guys. He knows exactly what's going to go on. So I think that would be the biggest change. It's just the game slowed down for him.
Tyler Ingram.
Hey Jonah, Tyler Ingram with Sideline Sports. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Jonah, you played in the national championship every season during your Alabama career. Can you describe the feeling of playing in your first Super Bowl and just your second season in the NFL?
Third season, but yeah.
Third season, sorry. My apologies.
It's very exciting. It's what you work for all off season, when we're training on our own, then we get together and do OTAs, training camp. All the hard work that goes into this season is for this game, for this opportunity. And, that's a position that we've put ourselves in with our hard work and execution. And so we have to finish it that same way. And, coming away with a win would be massive for this team and this organization. And that's where all of our focus is on.
Thank you, Jonah. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Hey, Jonah, congrats on making it to the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
My question for you is, having that experience at Alabama, like you were just talking about, you and Joe have played in a lot of big games in your young careers. So for the guys on the team that don't necessarily have the same big game experience as you guys are fortunate enough to have, how have you guys been able to help your other teammates that are kind of lacking that big game experience?
I think I can only speak for myself on that, but I think Joe kind of has a similar style of leadership, but I think that approaching this game fearlessly, not changing my demeanor, not changing the way that I act, I think exuding confidence to everyone in the room is going to be critical, because it is going to be a big game. It's a big stage, a lot of eyes on us. But you can't sit here and think about that and get nervous. You just have to trust yourself, trust your preparation, and just go out there confidently and play football.
Absolutely, man. Congrats and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
We now have Jake Malik from Sideline Sports.
Hey, Sony, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We were just talking about how you won a Super Bowl already. So you spent some years in New England, and you did win a Super Bowl, like we said. What from that experience can you take to kind of use in this game? You know, not only just winning a Super Bowl, but also just your time in general in New England. You know, in those few years.
The biggest thing for me is preparation. Being prepared, like any other game, you have a lot of confidence going into the game. Being able to play fast, being able to be you, and I think preparation is just the biggest thing.
How you doing, Sony Michel?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Doing pretty good, sir. Jay Nelson with Sideline Sports. So, last month, your alma mater, the Georgia Bulldogs, won the national championship, and I know that you were pretty hyped about that. I'm curious to know if you had used their national championship victory personally as motivation to go out there and win throughout the playoffs and to win this Sunday.
You know, personally, I didn't, and I haven't, because we're different. It's just a different situation. But I was definitely excited for those guys, especially to know what kind of work they put in. And me being an alumni, being a fan of those guys, man, it was a great moment to share. Thank you.
Joe Ellis.
Hey, Sony. So the Rams, congratulations on getting to the Super Bowl. So the Rams have brought in OBJ, Von Miller. They brought you in when they needed running back help. How important has the front office been in getting you guys successful? And how great was it mid-year bringing in OBJ to the offense?
Man, it was great. It's always good when you can bring in, ball players like OBJ, Von Miller, and bringing those guys in. Obviously, you bring them in for a reason because their capability, and knowing that we would get these guys, we knew that our team would be stronger. They would come in, and I'm sure they would have to learn the culture, and eventually they were going to make plays for us.
And secondly, how big of an impact have you had on Cam Akers, going through Super Bowl week, telling him what to prepare for, what to expect leading up to the big game?
Oh, man. Huge. I'm sure he knows it. He has great coaches around him to, just basically tell him, it's really about his preparation. Not making this game bigger than what it is. We are just playing a football game. It's like any other game, as long as you look at it that way, and you should be fine.
Thank you, Sonny. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, how you doing, man?
Good.
You guys, or rather, you and Matt Stafford, you guys played together in Detroit for quite a few years, and it was definitely some tough seasons in Detroit. And I know you both probably have plenty of love for Detroit. But what does it mean to you, having been his teammate? And I heard you talking about it before. He's your quarterback, right? That's your guy. What does it really mean to you, knowing you have a chance, you both have a chance to go out and win a championship, but you have a chance to go help him try and win the championship after those years in Detroit, and finally both of you reach the top of the mountain, if you will?
I think this whole team deserves this, not just us, like me wanting to push it for him or wanting. I think we all deserve this. I feel like it's been a long season. There's been ups and downs and ebbs and flows of the game. I feel like we worked our butts off to get where we're at right now, and all we can do is compete and finish. So it's just wanting to finish for one another, not just for one. We're teams, we, not me. So like I said, we just locked in on finishing the goal that's in hands. Like, we know it's a great team that's going to be playing it. We're going to be playing against, but we do our job and focus on what we need to do, and things will go our way.
How you doing, A-Shark? Congratulations on getting to the Super Bowl. So a lot of talk has been put on Burrow and the passing game, but your team has been phenomenal against the run. What has made your team so successful in stopping the run and making Cincinnati during the game a one-dimensional team?
Like I said, I'm I'm a soapboxer, you know. I'm just gonna repeat itself over and over again. But like I said, I don't know. I just want to be great for my teammates. That's all I'm worried about. That's all we're worried about, is being great for one another. You know, it's just like I said, it's a lot of energy and a lot of things you gotta keep controlled in until you get to the game. But it's fun. It's fun. You know, it's crazy. Like I was telling people, I'll be here in the summer. We'll be here right here in the summer, and that's where we're at. And so we just got to finish, and that's all we locked in on, is just finishing.
And just to follow up, I mean, you guys picked up Von Miller by trade in the middle of the season. You had a great defense before that, but how big of a pickup was it for your other 10 guys on the defensive front, bringing in a future Hall of Famer to help you guys reach the pinnacle?
Having Von is great. You know, having him, Von, Flo, Greg, and them on third down, AD, like, it's crazy watching it. Like you said, it's 2 Hall of Famers on the D-line right there. It's crazy to have that much experience and knowledge on the D-line, because, you know, it helps everybody else around them. It helps them understand the game, pick up on things that their traits and what they got and stuff. But to pick up a guy like Von, that was crazy.
Thank you, Ashra. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Jake Malik next.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. You get to play with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, and then you were talking about before you added Von Miller in the middle of the season.
Mhm.
Just what is it like having those guys, not only in terms of just the opportunities that it presents for you, because I heard you talking about that, but just what it does for you in your development as a player and your ability to improve yourself on the field, because you had a great season this season, and I don't think that's an accident. I don't think that just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's just being able to like learn from them every day is a huge help me improve, you know, just like working with them every day, seeing how they work and like what they do to get better and stay the best. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's helped me out a lot. I mean, and you almost have no choice when you're playing next to these guys, but to rise to the occasion kind of, and raise your level of play to what they do. And yeah.
You are in an opportunity to be thrust into that starting role this week, with Higbee potentially being out. I know it's got to be hard to prepare for that. I understand he's been kind of the starter, if you will, all season. I know you guys share snaps, and I understand that. And I heard you talking about how close the tight end room is. What is the feeling for you, knowing there's a chance that you will be the starter this weekend? How are you kind of preparing, knowing Higbee may be out? Because I heard Coach Sean McVay talking about they're going day to day, which means we don't know yet, and that could mean very well that you're starting.
Well, first and foremost, don't count Higbee out. He's a trooper, man. That guy, is probably one of the hardest workers I know, one of the toughest guys that I know. So, don't be surprised if and when you see Higbee out there in 89 and making plays on Sunday. But just as far as preparing to, possibly be the starter or be in that role or play a lot, whatever the case may be, I think that's something that I've always done. Since I've been here, my rookie year, just prepare like, everybody says the cliche thing, you're one play away, but, I take that to heart and I act like I'm one play away, whether that's walking through extra plays with one of the quarterbacks or getting some extra film in and asking coaches questions. I've always done that. They probably get annoyed when I'm asking them questions. Hey, what do you see here if we're doing this or that? And then I'm always talking to Higgs, man. That he has been the starter. He is the starter. So just getting his insight on how he sees the game unfold, when we're getting this look, what do you do? What's your footwork here? These things like that, man. That guy has always been a great help to me. So I'll stay in his ear and keep asking him questions, because he has that experience and he's a real good player for us. So I'll use him as much as I can. That's.
Next question comes from Joe Ellis. Joe, you may ask your question.
Hey, Matt, congratulations. So, before the big game, is there any special preparation that you have? And are you glad that you guys are playing in a dome when you're looking to kick it for a big moment, or you don't care where you're kicking?
Again, I think that's something you kind of
as a kicker in this league have to, I mean, there's benefits to both. I mean, I think there's obviously great benefits to being in a dome, not dealing with some of the elements that you get in other places for sure. But like wanting that big moment, you have to embrace that moment. You got to embrace the conditions where you kick. You got to embrace, going to kick in Green Bay and going to kick in a dome. You just have to embrace those moments and no extra preparation for this week. Yeah, it's been something you've been doing all year. Something that you are consistent with your process, your routine, and that's something you don't want to change going into this game. You just want to stay consistent and true to yourself, consistent to your process again, and the results will take care of itself.
Thank you so much, Matt. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Next question comes from Tyler Ingram. Tyler, you may ask your question.
Hey, Matt. Tyler Ingram with Sideline Sports. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How much confidence do you have kicking in SoFi? And are there certain spots on the field you prefer?
I have a lot of confidence kicking in SoFi. I mean, we played there a lot of games this year and last year, and it's being able to kick it home. But those uprights are the same width everywhere you go, and so you'll be able to adjust to the day and be able to, see that ball going through the uprights. SoFi is a great place to kick. It's unreal. It isn't fully enclosed, so sometimes that that wind can come through the open canopy sides, and but it's nothing that I prefer one way or the other or anything like that. It's a fantastic place to kick. Love kicking there. Excited to kick there this Sunday.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Jake.
So you had a pretty great offense to work with this season. You guys brought in OBJ in the middle of the season, and that I'm sure that was pretty great. What was it like just having Matt and OBJ and even though you lost Robert Woods, what was it like with him? What was the feel for the offense this whole year? Because on the field it looked great, but I'd love to know what the locker room feel was and what was the whole feel with those guys throughout the season.
Yeah, it was really the energy and the enthusiasm that we operate with on a daily basis is really something that I will try to obviously replicate and duplicate that in future opportunities, because the enjoyment that you can have when you're operating with urgency and detail and understanding how important even the smallest of details may be can allow you to have the freedom to allow that process to show up on game day. And all of our guys, the one thing that you really start to learn is just how much they love playing for one another. They love their teammates, but then they love football. They have joy playing this game. They have joy competing. It's something that you can always tell our guys are at their best in big moments because they love competing and they love doing it with their teammates. And that would really be what I would say is just that aspect of our group this year for this team has been something that I will not forget.
So the first question will come from Jake Malik.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. You had the pleasure of coaching some really great players this year, and you lost Robert Woods due to just a sad injury, really. Just that's got to hurt. But you get OBJ. Obviously, I don't think anybody really knew that Woods was going to be out the whole season at that point. But how did it kind of help you in terms of coaching your guys, your receiver room, knowing that you had a guy like OBJ to kind of come in and try and help step up? And I also, just to add on that, I was hearing from Sean, you and OBJ are pretty close. So, every meeting he's with you. So just can you expand on the relationship you guys have as well?
Well, I kind of met OBJ back with his coach Adam Henry when we played him a couple of years ago. He probably don't remember, but he set a positive example right then and there. I knew that he was a hell of a player, but the way he spoke with me before the game, I just knew he was a hell of a person too. He does sit next to me in meetings. He's taking notes. He's bright-eyed. He's always asking questions. Sometimes I got to stop him from asking questions because Sean is talking. I say, hold that question down until we finish. But he's a pleasure to coach.
All right, we got time for one more question. It'll come from Joe Ellis at Sideline Sports.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on getting to the Super Bowl. So you guys brought in OBJ in the middle of the year. You have Cooper Kupp, who had a record-setting year, Robert Woods. So you guys have some phenomenal receivers. What did each of them do differently that they bring to the receiver room?
Well, all of them, we talk about being complete receivers. All of them are complete receivers. Robert played the Z receiver, and I call him the most complete because what he brings to the table is a toughness to our team. He's a dog on the field. He's transformed into something I've never seen before. You may see that smiling face in practice and when he's around the building, but when he gets on the field, he transforms to somebody. You look in his eye and you say, "I don't know this guy. Who is this?" All right, Robert could. He can run intermediate routes. He can run quick routes. He can take it over the top. He can be your fullback when needed, when need be. And when he went down, Cooper Kupp took over that role of being a fullback. I mean, here he is, a 1,900-yard receiver, but he's doing everything he can in the run game. And one thing I'm most excited about these guys is that they are complete receivers. And they're selfish. They don't care who gets the credit. They just want to win and have them and trust their teammates and have their teammates be successful.
We have a question from Jake.
Hey, Jake.
How you doing, Coach?
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so Matt Stafford this year was one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Obviously, that must be something you're doing right. Obviously, your guys are protecting them pretty well. So can you just talk about what you did with your guys this year to help Matt be, so well protected and have time in the pocket and obviously be at the bottom of the most sacked quarterback list?
Well, I appreciate it, but it all starts with these players. And I got to talk to guys like Whitworth and Rob and the whole crew. I mean, these guys take a lot of pride in pass protection. They work incredibly hard at it, and they're great players. I mean, Rob's been doing it at a high level for a long time, and so has Whit. And Brian Allen, from the inside out with his communication, has been outstanding. And then also, too, it takes all 11 to protect them. The receivers do a great job of getting open, the quarter, and Matthew getting rid of the ball in time. And so it takes everybody. But ultimately, and then those 5 guys up front and the running backs, I mean, gosh, Sony Michel and Daryl, I mean, they have done an outstanding job of pass protection this year as well. And so certainly it takes all 11 to do so. But Sony and Daryl, I mean, they've put some clips on tape in Pass Pro that I would put up against anybody else in the league in terms of a running back sticking his nose up in there and blocking somebody at the point of attack. It's been really impressive. And then the 5 guys all come, like I said, they take a lot of pride in it. They work hard at it, and then we study it, and they do a good job of it. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. But I'm sure I think those guys do a great job.
Next question comes from Jake Malik. Jake, you may ask your question.
Hey, Wes, how are you doing today?
Great, Jake. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I was talking to Kendall Blanton before, and I was asking him how he gets prepared for this game, knowing that with the status of Higbee kind of up in the air currently, he might be the starter. And he kind of talked about how obviously he prepares, but he also said, don't count out Higbee. He's a pretty tough guy, and you don't want to count him out, especially in this game. Can you just talk about really both of them, how tough Higbee is, and that there is still a chance he'll play, and just that's kind of how he is, and also just how well Kendall's been handling this whole situation and preparing to potentially start in the biggest game of his career?
Yeah, well, Higbee is, tough as nails. I mean, as tough as they come. These tight ends, being able to, people mostly on the outside notice the catching aspect, but they're in there in the trenches and most of these runs, and they're doing a lot of dirty work. And generally, they're not as big, not as long, not as strong, not as heavy as the defenders that they're playing against. Tyler's probably 240 pounds. So he's all football. I mean, I can't tell you how many games that he's just nicked up, has to come out, goes back in, does everything he can throughout the week to make sure he can get turned over to play in that next game. And that's kind of the way he lives, but he's all about it. Not every guy is like a Tyler Higbee, but he's just a phenomenal person. One of my favorite guys that I've ever coached, just even from an offensive standpoint, not only just tight ends, just a guy, a coach's dream kind of guy that just loves ball, gives it everything he has, and wants to do anything he can to help the team win. He's never been a guy who's selfish or asking for more targets. It's just any way we can, anything we have to do to win. That's what Tyler's about. Love Tyler. Just so appreciative to have had this opportunity to coach him over the last few years. And really, he's the example. Like I said, he's the leader of the room. He's the example in the room. It makes my job a lot easier when there's an actual player in the room for guys like Kendall Blanton, for guys like Bryson Hopkins, and of course, even Johnny Munt, to have an example like him that's leading the room and then producing on Sundays where he can actually be a leader in the sense that they see what he does, how he prepares, but then also it translates to the field.
Jake?
Hey, Coach. Sorry about that. I guess I got invited to unmute early by accident. So
no problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem, though.
So I wanted to ask you about your running back room. You have a pretty great set of running backs, especially Cam Akers, who made a miraculous comeback from injury, it feels like, and then Sony Michel, who was awesome throughout the season, especially in relief, when Cam wasn't there. Can you just talk about what it's like to have, such a really great running back room and to be able to coach guys like that?
Yeah, what you mentioned, I think it is a great running back room. I think just more so than those guys, challenges, the type of people that you have in that room, to me, makes it so much easier as a coach. Makes it exciting to come to work every single day with guys who are, self-motivated. They're definitely competitive, but definitely do a really good job of being great teammates, of picking each other up. They're trying to do a really good job of making sure we put all the guys in that room in the best spot possible and trying to find ways on game day to activate each individual guy's skill set, to the best ability. But I think there's not enough words to describe what Cam Akers did. I'm an old dude and, tore my Achilles last year. So I didn't come back as fast as he did, but to see him come back in 5.5 months and to me looks more explosive than he did before is a huge credit to him and his work ethic, but also to our training staff as well of doing a really good job preparing him the right way. We can come back and play at his best. But I think the sky's the limit for Cam as far as his growth potential. I think to me, one of the biggest things I loved about him in the draft was his upside, his creativity in the run game, being able to break tackle, affect the game in multiple ways. So we're definitely excited about continuing to build with him. Looking forward to him having a good day on Sunday as well. You obviously mentioned about Sony Michel, and I kind of hit on Sony already, but I think just being able to add him to the room, to that group. And to me, just the production from a player standpoint is obviously great, but also to me, what he brings as a veteran leadership, almost like an assistant coach at times in the room of being able to have that knowledge to kind of, talk to and help advise a really relatively young room overall. You talk about with him still being somewhat young in his career. I won't say as much from a running back perspective, but with Cam and obviously Daryl as well being one of the more veteran guys in that room, I think being able to have that mentality and the approach he takes as well from a pass protection standpoint, taking pride in it, closing space, putting his face on people, to me is always great to be able to show and kind of add to that whole reel of being able to be a complete tailback. And then obviously Daryl Henderson, who is super explosive, played extremely well for us throughout this entire year. And to me, for him, make the biggest strides from, my first year with him last year to this year in the pass game when it comes to what he does out the backfield, running routes, catching the football, but also his step and leadership when it comes to taking a first-hand approach in pass protection. But definitely love the room, excited about it, and they get my best every single day.
Jake?
Hey, CJ, good to talk to you again. How you doing?
Doing well. Who is this?
Jake, I spoke to you on Monday. I was your last question. You remember? You told me, make it a good one.
Yes, and it was a good one.
Thank you. How you doing?
Doing well with yourself.
I'm good, thank you. So I was talking to some of the coaches the other day. I believe that was Tuesday. I specifically talked to James, your tight ends coach. He was saying how unselfish you guys all are, and especially you in particular. What is it that you and your fellow tight ends go out there and do that you think makes you so unselfish? And what is that mindset?
Another good question. Let's go. I love it. First of all, I'm going to shout out James real quick. James is awesome. And I think, some of that and some of the things that, we talk about, some of the things that we go out there and do and the way that we are because of him. I don't know. I think it's not just us. I think the team in and of itself and the players that we have are unselfish, but I don't know. The tight end it's a gritty position, man. You got to go out there. You got to block the ends. You got to, you got to maybe block a 3-tech that loops out sometimes. You got to be in the pass, bro. You got to know the protections. You got to know all the route concepts. You got to know the checks for the route concepts if that comes about. So we're just out there having fun, man. We're just out there knowing that we have to know pretty much everything that Joe knows on a little bit of a lesser scale for sure. But we're just out there blocking as much as we can to spring a touchdown, catching a pass if we need to, running interference if we need to, clearing something out. I don't know. It's for us. It's not about our stats. It's not about because there'll be games where we don't catch a pass, but we run for 200 plus yards and we're like, all right, well, we were a part of that. So I don't know. I think that's kind of where the unselfishness comes. It's not just us, it's the whole team, but I think, as a position, that's probably why it is the way it is.
Next question to Jake Malik.
Hey, Ricardo, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I know a couple people have asked some questions about the Falcons, and I'll be like everybody else. I got a good one for you. We were talking about right at the beginning of this how, there were a lot of things you took away from that loss, and we all know it was a tough loss on everybody. What are some of the things that you actually took away from, that game that you're going to try to use in this game? And, what are some of those things that you have been telling the guys that you mentioned before?
Yeah, one of the main things I started to realize about football is it's always going to be a fight. And even when you believe that like you have a team that maybe can jump out on a team, or maybe they can, or the other team is going to jump out on you, man. The Super Bowl and most of these games in the NFL is going to come down to like the last couple minutes. So don't believe that even if you jump out, don't believe that, or even if they jump out, don't believe that that is like the saying. Like that is going to be like the complete analysis of the game, because that's far from it. It's going to be a lot of adjustments. It's going to be a long halftime. So, there's going to be time for adjustments. It's a really deep dive into the first half of, breakdowns and stuff like that. And then really just keep fighting. Just keep fighting, man. You go back to that Super Bowl that we played in. We got a pick six, really, we got pressure early. We was making plays on the ball. We stopped the onside kick. Man, it was so much stuff that we stopped, and and we still end up losing that game. And it was so many things that you would have thought. We even won the turnover differential, and you typically will have like a higher percentage, like a 70% chance of winning, and we still lost that. So like, the game not over until we led that game the whole time until they scored in overtime. We led the game the whole time. You would never think that would happen, but it can happen. So at the end of the day, man, fight until it ain't no more fight. You just gotta be good enough. Just good enough to beat this team. Don't try to be perfect. It ain't gonna be perfect. You just need to be good enough to beat them.
Hey, Ricardo, Tyler Ingram with Sideline Sports. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. 5 years removed from Super Bowl 51 with Atlanta, you and Raheem Morris are back in the Super Bowl, this time on opposite sides. Can you touch on Raheem Morris as a coach in the position you both are in Sunday against one another?
Oh, yeah, man. Raheem, that's my guy. He actually is probably one of my biggest mentors in my life. Most people know that like I want to become a coach after I'm done playing football. So he's one of the guys who actually have been mentoring me since we've been at the Falcons together. I got much respect for him. I think he's one of the most high quality people in the league right now. I think he's one of the best coaches that I've been under. I'm still surprised that he hasn't gotten a head coaching job yet. He gets interviewed for him a lot, but they haven't really pulled the plug on him, which is kind of confusing, because I believe out of a lot of the candidates, he's one of the most high quality coaches. He know how to blend any personality of a team with any players, superstars or not. He can, he make defense easy for everyone to understand. He can get everyone around to play fast. He's a guy that keep energy going in and out of the locker room. He really can do it all. Be a headband, he was a wide receiver coach for the Falcons, came over and became a defensive coordinator, knows both sides of the ball, understands salary cap, kind of like, to be one of the better ones all around, and I hope you do well, just not this week. I want to win this game.
Next question is Jake Malik. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jake.
Good. So I was just talking to CJ. He says he's probably going to be in this game. He says he's feeling good. Do you have any updates on that? And, can you just talk about the kind of player he is, the hunger that he clearly has?
Yeah. It's hard to say for certain if he'll play on Sunday, but it's been positive so far this week. We'll see where he's at today and tomorrow to make those decisions. But again, he's been a tremendous asset for us this year. Tight ends, they got to play a big role in all three phases: the pass game, the run game, the protections. He's always ready to play on special teams when needed as well. And so, again, he's just been an invaluable player in our team. And we got a lot of guys that are similar to him, similar mindsets. They're willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win games. And CJ certainly embodies that.
Next person we have Jake Malley.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Good. Glad to speak to you again. Just how are you mentally preparing for this weekend? I know you've been in this situation before, so I think you have a little bit of an insight as to how you prepare. So what have you been doing this week to get yourself extra ready, I guess?
Oh, we got 2 weeks. This is the second week we got to prepare from, as far as just getting ready for them, as far as my film studies. So I feel like I was able to break these guys down to a T. Started last week, and then I feel like more of this week is just bonus film I'm able to do. So. When you come to that, it's been great. But being home, being in LA, kind of standing my normal week schedule as far as what I do every single day to get myself ready for a Sunday game. As far as that's off the field things, to my film studies, to the way I just go about being able to practice and do things, being back at where I live at. So I feel like it's been great. So.
Aaron, I guess nobody else is here, so I'll ask you another question.
Okay.
I guess it's just you and I for now. I think other people in other rooms. So, if you're able to win this, what are you going to do? What's your celebration plan, I guess?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna be in the moment. I'm gonna enjoy it. My family's gonna be out here. My kids is with me, so I'm definitely gonna enjoy that experience with them. Then you got your teammates, your coaches. You got to enjoy the experience with them as well. So I don't know. I'm just gonna live in the moment, and whatever happened after that, I'm just gonna enjoy myself and like I said, just be in the moment. So.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jake.
Hey, Leonard, how are you?
I'm all right.
We were just talking about Aaron Donald and Von Miller as your teammates. They've both been to a Super Bowl, and Von has obviously already won once. And this is your first time in a Super Bowl. What have you, been talking with them, and have you been picking their brains to try and prepare yourself for this moment?
Yeah. I've been talking to Von a lot about what all the things he remember going through from his first time going to the Super Bowl. Just picking it, choosing when to ask some questions and when not to, just sitting back and just watching him, how he reacts. You know what I'm saying? One of the things he told me was don't blink, and I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job of that, not blinking so far, just going out and playing.
We'll take our next question from Jason.
Leonard, what happened for you when you went to the Rams? Why has this gone so well, and what changed for you in your career when you made that move?
I just kept working hard, man. And I ran into Coach McVay. He really believed in me since day one. And I've been making sure I've been working hard for him and going out and helping win games.
Next question to Jake Malik.
Hey, Van, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Coach Sean McVay was just speaking the highest of praises about you before when talking about your wide receiver group, saying how you really are such a talented athlete and you have a lot that you bring to the table. And he was also talking about how you work with Odell for a little bit now and what you've learned from Robert Woods and from Cooper Kupp. Can you just talk about the ways that they've helped you grow as a player and become the player that you are now?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, those guys, helped me out a ton when I first came in, and I'm still learning from those guys every day, and when Odell came in, he didn't know much of the playbook, so I helped him out as much as I can, but even in the midst of all that, he was still helping me out with different things I could do on routes and how I can create more separation and what I need to do, with my snap down and things like that. So especially from Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp is like he studies all day, and just helping me, read defenses and things I can do to, manipulate the defender and things like that. So, and then Robert Woods as well. Like I said, from day one, he was a guy that, kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me the ropes. So, those guys have definitely helped me develop into the player that I am. And, they're still helping me, as I continue to develop. So, I can't thank those guys enough for, all the help they put into me. And so, I love having those guys as my teammates.
All right, let's go to Jake Malik next.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I was on a call with Aaron Donald earlier today during his availability, and he had nothing but high praise about you. Just saying a lot of great things about you as a player and a person. What's the relationship the two of you have? And I know you're in the secondary and he's on the line, but how does he help you grow as a player and even just as a person?
Yeah, Aaron Donald's obviously extremely talented player on the field, but I'd argue he's an even better person off the field. Just watching a guy like Aaron Donald and how they approach the game, their passion for the game, how they work at everything they do, whether that be meetings, workouts, or practices, just a tremendous opportunity. So, that he helps everybody out on this team, not just with his play. So it's been an extreme blessing to be on a team with a guy like him.
Hey, Brandon, this is Jake from Sideline Sports. How you doing?
How you doing, man?
Good. So you've returned some punts this year and obviously some kicks, as well as playing wide receiver. You've done a couple of things. And apparently Coach Sean McVay today brought in a lefty punter, I heard, to try and simulate what you're going to see with the Bengals over the weekend. Do you feel like that kind of preparation is really what's going to lead to you guys winning, not leaving any stone unturned?
It's the reason why the Rams are in the Super Bowl. So it's like you just prepare. If you catch them from a left, you're facing a left foot punter and we don't have a left foot punter, you bring one in. And that's just something that, the Rams do a good job of. And it's which is why our special teams go out there and we're always ready for whatever's thrown at us. So they just do a great job here of preparing us. Johnny's a great punter, but he's a right footer, and I'd rather catch from a left foot because that's what I'll see on Sunday. So, they just do a great job here of making sure we're prepared. We see everything that we're going to see on Sunday.
Jake.
Hey, Austin, how are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So you've been with the Rams about 2.5 years now. I'm sure you've learned a lot from Andrew Whitworth. I know you've been talking about him. What has he taught you? I know I could ask a million questions about him, but I would love to know what in these 2.5 years you've learned from and, to grow as a player.
It's honestly just a numerous ongoing list that truly just adding things to it every single day. Just understanding hand placement, just angles, and just different types of defensive players and defensive schemes and just what works, what technique works the best for their defensive technique. And he's done it all. He's tried it all. He knows what the best is at this point, and he understands just how bodies move. And I think that's a big testament to how he's able to still play at this level as well, just understanding the biomechanics behind things, what works well, leverages, and just different angles and torques and just how the body functions. I mean, it's so hard to pinpoint one thing. It's an ongoing list every single day. It's something's added, and truly just a remarkable, intelligent football player that's doing so much with just an incredible. I mean, incredible career is definitely unmatched.
Jake Malik.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
Hey, good. Didn't catch the first name there, but what's up?
Jake. Name's Jake.
Jake.
So we've seen you guys do some trick plays. You guys are a little bit notorious for that almost, and we've seen you throw a couple passes before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to give away the game plan or anything, but is there a chance maybe we see some trick plays with you this weekend? Maybe a couple passes. Who knows?
We might only throw the ball. Who knows? You never know. We might not punt and just run all fakes. That could be part of the game plan. Come on, Jake. What do you expect me to say here? Yeah, I have no idea. It's all situational. We have things that we like, and it's always part of our game plan every single week, whether we use them or not. And we just stay ready for whatever the situation provides.
Jake Malik.
Hey, Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. You got to work with a pretty great guy this year in Von Miller. I mean, not the whole season, but you definitely got to work with him quite a bit. If you had to describe Von in just one word, which I know it's probably pretty hard, how would you describe Von in that one word?
Yeah, I would say I'd say charismatic. I just think he's got a energy and an aura about him where he just brings others with him, and you just feel good when you talk to Von. You feel like you can be yourself. He gets along with everybody. He talks to everybody, and that's really the first thing I think of. Even before the type of player he is and how amazing he is on the field.
Hey, Chris. Figure I'll get another question in. The fact that your grandfather and your father, they were both coaches in the NFL. What kind of influence did that have on you in your decision to obviously now be coaching in the NFL?
Yeah, a huge influence. Just growing up and going to training camp, I'd stay with my dad when he was, head coach of the Bengals. I'd go over to training camp and stay in the dorms with the players and go to the walkthroughs, go to practice, be a ball boy and stuff like that. And so always something you kind of wanted to be a part of, and just so thankful that I'm able to do this with Sean, and bringing me over here, and the fact that I've been here 5 years, I almost have to pinch myself. So just so thankful to be coaching in the NFL, and the fact to be coaching in the Super Bowl is just kind of a dream come true.
We'll take our next question from Jake.
What's up, Jake?
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. You obviously work with some pretty special players on that D-line. I don't think I need to go into detail about that. I'm pretty sure you know how incredible it is. Your job is never easy per se, but having the guys that you do, does it make your job just a little bit easier at times? With the incredible talent you have.
Yeah, Jake, I've been extremely blessed as a position coach. When you talk about having guys like Aaron Donald and Ashawn Robinson, Greg Gaines, Sebastian when he was out there, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller and his leadership. I mean, just guys that's played a lot of ball. You have guys that's played a lot of ball that understand what it takes, but just great human beings as well. I mean, you talk about guys that are able to allow themselves to be coached hard, because my approach has been, it's a little bit different. If you really know me, I like to, I think I kind of grind it out a little bit. I'll just say that. And for guys to be able to receive that and trust that, that takes trust both ways. That takes trust with those guys trusting in myself and the rest of the coaches, and also the coaches trusting in these guys and understanding, that it's a 50-50 thing, and being able to collaborate on how we get the job done, understanding that we're all trying to accomplish one goal. And I think it's really easy when you have human beings like that also take coaching hard and that allow themselves to be coached that way. And it's just been awesome for us.
All right, a call on Jake Malik.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Great. How about yourself, Jake?
I'm good. Thank you very much. You guys got a pretty good task this weekend against Joe Burrow, a great young up-and-coming quarterback. Does it help having Matt Stafford be your team's quarterback, and practicing against him, having your guys have to face him and see what he can do? Does that help you prepare for a guy like Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a player of his caliber on your roster, it's only going to lift everybody up, especially your defense. And even when you go back to training camp and all the reps against them, and OTAs, training camp, in season when we do our best on best 2-minute drills, you're going against an elite guy. You're going against one of the best players in the league, and that work and that preparation built up over time is only going to make you better. And so. Yeah, obviously they're different in terms of the things that they excel at and what they do, but just going against an elite quarterback definitely makes you better, and it has to serve us well.
Jake Malik.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. I was talking with Brandon Powell just a couple minutes ago, and we were talking about how Sean brought in a lefty punter today. First of all, whose idea was that? Was that yours or his? I mean, you are the special teams guy. Was that your idea or was that his? And then just a second part to that, does it help, you as a coach as well as a team, but specifically you as a coach, having a coach like Sean, who potentially, depending on your answer, is the guy that's saying, yes, let's bring in a lefty punter and make sure we cover every little tiny detail and every aspect of this potential, of this matchup we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a real pleasure working for Coach McVay. There's no question. He is definitely what you said. He's very detailed. Is it his idea? I'd say it's all of our ideas because we know that the left-footed spin is different. I think we've had this occur during the season. I know it's occurred other places for me, but I believe it's occurred also here, and we did it before. So, in fact, I know we did when we played Green Bay. So I think it's something that teams do. It's a different spin, but it's great that this team is willing to, actually try the guy out and use it in that respect. It helped us out today, hopefully.